So here we are, Deck Cluskey, Serious Writers Guild, 4 minutes on the net with Deck. Makehits.com. Taking a different route today through my little village where I live. Fascinating little English village on the south coast of England. People have been saying, why are you so out of breath, Deck, in all your videos? And I suppose it's because I'm going completely uphill. The other way I go, it seems to be uphill all the way. It's quite amazing. It can't be really, because I end up back at my house. I go in a big circle. But there we are. Now, what have I got for you this week? Laurie Lewin runs an organisation. Oh, I forgot. I cut myself shaving. Should I take it off? Let's see. Ah, there we are. Yes, Laurie Lewin, long-term Serious Writers Guild member, and we swap ideas and he asks me questions all the time. He's been in touch with me recently. The name may ring a bell because Laurie runs an organisation called Voices Around the World. Voices Around the World, hugely successful. The idea is that he sends a backtrack all over the world to schools, and the list is quite astonishing. Just look it up on Google. And the idea is that they then put it on earphones, do it properly, and they record. And it's harmonies and vocal arrangement and all that, as I've always advised through the years. These have adopted all those ideas, and the kids sing in fantastic harmony. And they are fantastic. And he's literally got thousands and thousands and thousands of kids all singing together. And they do little videos of themselves as well. He wrote to me recently and said, oh, have a listen to what we've done this year, just before I finalise it. And I had a listen, and yes, it was fantastic. But my reservations were that to me it sounded old-fashioned. It was the typical school rock thing, ideal for vocal arrangement. But my worry to Laurie was that it could be thought of as being quite old-fashioned by 5 to 12-year-olds, and their 5 to 18-year-olds are the ones he's aiming for. And his reply to me was, and I've got it here, I can tell you the schools have given the course the music a massive thumbs up, and the feedback from schools visited that many older students I talked to were keen to dig back into the archives and listen to old stuff. So he was bringing up a lot of old arguments that I've heard so many times. And I replied back to him, I understand what you're saying, that they're saying that they like it, but be careful. You've got to be up to date, you've got to be hip-hoppy, you've got to be very current chart orientated when you're dealing with 5 to 12-year-olds. He didn't agree with me, really, and said, let's have an argument about it. And I said, Laurie, I'm absolutely fed up with arguing with guys who've made no money in their lives and still want to argue the toss and tell me that there's an adult record buying audience and all that absolute rubbish. So I explained it again very quickly to Laurie. So in making money from music, and that's what he's doing, literally, is making money from selling this whole package to schools. He's got to understand that 5 to 12-year-olds have their own genre of music nowadays. It started in the 80s with Mickey.
Oh, Mickey, you're so pretty, can't you understand?
Oh, hey Mickey. And it's a bouncy little fun tune. Then we had all the kids' tunes in the 80s, like Jake the Peg, Three Little Boys, all those quirky kids' tunes. I had one myself, a massive hit called The Unicorn, and that was aimed specifically at kids. Then it came along, and nowadays you got a situation where, yes, there are the hits aimed specifically at kids, and that's the sort of tunes that the 5 to 12-year-olds, they come in and they switch on their iPods or whatever, or the TV, and they've got all these school type, dancey type of shows, and out of that you got that whole genre of hits, and they're all over the charts. So the 12 to 18-year-olds will then get a bit more serious about their music, and they'll start following bands and individual artists, Kings of Leon, that type of thing, Muse maybe. Once they go over 18, they simply do not buy records. They might buy albums, but they'll buy albums of the people that they were following from their 12 to 18 era. Again, the 25, they simply don't buy albums at all, because they're spending all the money on their family, on the kids, on schooling. They've left it all behind. An odd time they might get Christmas presents, and it's always box sets of Mott the Hoople or whatever, whoever they followed when they were in that 12 to 18-year-old period. So that's the way it works. And lastly, just to wrap up, I think you should bear that in mind with your own music, that you have to appeal to the 12 to 18-year-olds. They're the ones that are doing the downloads, they're the ones that are buying the records, and they're the ones that are making stars today. The adult record buying audience simply do not exist. So if you are creating music which you like because you liked it when you were very young, don't bother. Absolutely don't bother. You have to be into the charter today, and you have to obey those rules, because that's what they are. They're rules for making money in music. So this is Deck, starting to go uphill now, probably starting to sound out of breath. Deck@makehits.com. 4 minutes on the net with Deck. See you next week. Bye.